what is skin? What does skin mean to you? We cleanse it. We moisturize it. We put art on it. We paint it. We nurture it. We massage it. We touch it. We feel it. Is it a blank canvas? Is it an introduction? Is it a protector? Are you comfortable in your own skin? Do you love the skin you're in? This is a disclaimer. This video content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning. I hope everybody has woken up, is healthy, happy, enjoying the weather. I know I am. One of the most requested videos on my channel has been how I cleared my skin. And I literally just woke up to shoot this part of the video because I think it's important to show you what my skin looks like right out of bed. And I think you can even tell, like, my voice is still cracky, my face is like a little puffy still. But this is what my skin looks like. I'm hoping to get this video edited by this week. And today's date is June 11, 2021. And the reason I made emphasis on the date is because it's been a long journey. I never thought that I would be able to get on camera and be able to share my journey of my skin. If my skin was really bad, I would cover it with makeup to try to make me feel a little beautiful, and that's why makeup always has like a special place in my life, and it's part of who I am because makeup allowed me to cover, I guess, the acne and made me feel confident at times where I did not feel confident. My skin has never looked this good, ever. And I'm grateful for that. But I will say it's been a long journey. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that, as weird as it sounds, it took me going through everything I've gone through to clear my skin, to be able to sit with myself and say, I was beautiful then too. You know, and I look at pictures of myself, pictures that would never see the light of day, and able to just look back and say, wow, you were beautiful, you know? You were beautiful with all that stuff on your face. One of the main reasons why I was very self-conscious is because one of the first things I looked at on someone was their skin, their smile, you know? And when you're someone who has struggled with anxiety, adding the layer of acne, adding, you know, insecurities and all that great stuff, it's really hard. Let me see if I can zoom in. I mean, I know I can zoom in. I'm like not recording with the tripod right now, and I don't know why, but let's get close and personal. Not that close. I'm actually gonna go get ready and shower and stuff, and then I'll come back and film the video. Hello, welcome back. Before we get into this video, I want to thank today's sponsor, myself. What is it that Snoop Dogg said? I want to thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for doing all this hard work. So yeah, thank me. Thank you. Thank myself. Whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So, today's video is a little different than anything on my channel. And that's because we're going to talk about skin. How I cleared it up. What I did. what I do. Also, excuse the hair. I didn't really want to do it. I'm in my robe, comfortable in my house. I'm giving that like chillaxed vibe. So for as long as I can remember, age 12, 13, 14, I've struggled with acne. And predominantly when I was in high school and a teenager, I would get it in my back. Painful cysts, just painful cystic acne, and would go to my primary care doctor and they would give me like topical stuff. It really wasn't until college that I really started to be affected by acne in my face. And over the years, I've seen numerous dermatologists. Off the top of my head, I've probably gone to like 6, 7, 8 different dermatologists just to try to find some way of clearing my acne. And like I said, in high school, I didn't really have it on my face. Like, I'd get a pimple like everybody else and it would leave, kind of thing. But it really wasn't until college that my face just blew up. And it became something that affected my self-esteem. It became something that really hindered me from going out. It became something that I was really self-conscious about. I want to say I was 20, 21 when I got the Mirena IUD. And if you don't know what an IUD is, it's a form of birth control that gets inserted into your uterus by a professional, of course. And you don't have to take the pill, you just insert it and forget it. And at the time, I don't remember how many milligrams or what the dosage was, but it was like right around the time where the Mirena came out. So I was one of the test subjects, essentially. And I was so happy that I had it in, that I didn't have to worry about pregnancy or anything at the time. I had a boyfriend, like a long-term boyfriend. And we obviously weren't using protection, crazy 20-year-olds. And I was just so happy. And all my friends were like, oh, I forgot to take the pill. And I was like, oh, don't have those problems. Like, you know, IUD gang. And my mother had an IUD, the copper one, and swore by it, which is why I got it. And I believe the copper one has a different name and it's a different company. But I had the Mirena. The Mirena releases hormones into your body. Looking back, I probably wouldn't have gotten it. And there's a long story in my blog, which I can link down below, of how the Mirena affected me emotionally, psychologically, mentally, physically, everything. But one of the main things that I noticed was acne. Hormonal cystic acne, that I would get like boils all over my face, and it was heartbreaking to me, right? Boyfriend at the time didn't care, people around me didn't mention it, maybe they saw it, but they weren't mean about it, right? So that's the beginning of my hormonal acne. And just to let you know, hormonal acne, also known as adult acne, is acne caused by genetic or hormonal factors that cause breakouts well past puberty in the teenage years. Hormonal acne occurs more often in women and is located on the lower part of the face. Breakouts happen along the jawline, the chin, or around the mouth area. The breakouts consist of inflammatory lesions, cysts, whiteheads, and blackheads. All of the above. I had all of them. So around the time when I was 20, 21, and I started to get this acne, I saw a dermatologist in Jamaica, Queens, New York. And that's when they introduced me to cortisone shots, which is basically a shot that they put into the acne or the lesion, and within a day or two it would disappear. So it helped with the inflammation. And that was all good and dandy because I was seeing, I want to say like every 3 weeks I was seeing them. What have I tried? Like I mentioned, I've tried antibiotics topically. I've tried benzoyl peroxide. They had me on antibiotics for acne, and that wasn't the first time I was on antibiotics. They had me on topical stuff, you know, benzoyl peroxide, foaming wash. They had me on, you name it. I've tried everything over the counter, literally everything. I've spent thousands of dollars on my skincare. And the acne would leave for a while, it would look really good, and then it would come back. And when it would come back, it'd start like one little right here, a little one right here, and then it would just flare up. I want to also point out that acne runs in my family on my dad's side. A lot of my cousins had acne. My brother had acne through puberty. My mother had acne after having my sister. I've been given Retinoid, which is Retinoid, and you can get this from your let's see if it'll focus. You can get this from your, I was gonna say psychiatrist. You can get this from your dermatologist. It has to be recommended from a dermatologist or a medical doctor, because Retinoid causes your skin to turn over at a rapid rate. It's essentially vitamin A, a lot of it. So you put it on, like I have a little scar right here, I would put it on, within a few days it'd be gone, which is great, but that wasn't helping with the underlying issue, which was the acne still coming out, right? And I'm a firm believer that everything in your body starts in your gut. So I would see my skin and I would be extremely self-critical, and I was going through depression and anxiety because of my skin. But even though I was changing my diet, I was still breaking out, and it just became something that was really frustrating. And I would see all my friends with like beautiful skin, and I'm like, so that's when I got into makeup, and the makeup helped my confidence a little bit, but the issue was still there. The makeup masked it, right? But it was still there. And then I got the acne, and it wasn't like it would go away right away. It would leave scarring, which I don't really think I have any scarring, thank God, anymore, but maybe some down here. That reminds me, I should probably put some Retinoid down there, but which is called hyperpigmentation of the skin, where essentially your skin gets a hurt, a pimple, a break, and then it darkens, and it's your body's way, I guess, of protecting the skin, but it leaves all these ugly scars. Who wants all that on their skin, right? So there are different ways of treating acne on a regular schmegular person, right? There's oral medications, which I've mentioned, antibiotics, such as dioxycycline, minocycline, clindamycin, which I've used all of these. There's been androgen receptor blockers, which is spironolactone, which I've been on. Right, and these medications, the androgen blockers, which is spironolactone, that's what I was on. I was on 100 milligrams per day. This helped with the swelling, for lack of a better word, but it didn't necessarily stop the acne. It just didn't make them come out as big, if that makes sense. This is another way doctors are actually treating acne these days, and that was a newer medication that I was on at the beginning of last year, and it didn't work out. You know, I went to the dermatologist and I was like, okay, so acne, let's fix it. And I had told him that I was on all the antibiotics in the world, and antibiotics are good to treat certain things, but it's not good to take them as I was getting them in the past, because they kill the good bacteria in your body. And that's why now there's more research saying take probiotics with your antibiotics, which I wasn't in the past, right? So I was killing all this good bacteria. Also, I want to know, my lifestyle at age 20 to 21 was not the healthiest, right? I was eating out all the time, New York City, fast food, chopped cheese, drinking alcohol, like partying. I was in New York City. I went to St. John's University, and there was parties almost every night. So I was not the healthiest person, right? But I wanted to fix my acne. And back then I was wild, you know, I didn't want to change my lifestyle. I just wanted the acne to be gone. So that is the oral way of treating acne, right? And then there's a topical way of treating acne, meaning you put things on like Retinoid, or you can go to the store and get like acne spot treatments, which this is the Clean and Clear salicylic acid, which I'm going to be throwing away because I don't use it anymore, thank God, and it's probably expired. So there's topical things you can use like retinoids, and retinoids are a class of chemical compound that is derived from vitamin A. And like I said, this turns over the skin at a very rapid rate. When you use this, you have to be very careful with the sun because you don't want to burn your skin, which would worsen any of the scarring. And most doctors will tell you if you use Retin A to use it at night when you go to sleep. So that way you can wash it off in the morning, go out, use some sunscreen, some SPF, and call it a day. We talked about oral medications, we talked about topical medications, and now let's talk about natural treatments, which are dietary changes. So limiting dairy, artificial sugars, limiting alcohol, red meat, and overly processed foods such as breads, pastas, and desserts, all of which I'm obsessed with, can help lower the inflammation and reduce the breakouts. So that's what I meant when I was talking about spironolactone, that medication helps with the inflammation and it doesn't cause such inflammation of the skin, right? There's tea tree oil, which is an oil that can be used topically that dries out the sebaceous glands and decreases inflammation. Tea tree oil is well known to use a lot of things. It's an antibiotic. And I was using tea tree oil to try to dry out the spots. Done that. Exfoliate your skin with a brush or a gentle exfoliant. I was doing that. Fish oil supplements. Fish oil contains omega-3 fatty acids that decrease inflammation, again, inflammation of the skin, and increase hydration without clogging the pores and causing breakouts. So this is one that I never actually did. Now that I'm older, I'm getting more into vitamins and taking care of my skin, of course. But I never used omega like intentionally for my skin. I would use vitamin E, tea tree oil like I mentioned, and essentially washing your face, right? Washing your face every night, changing your sheets weekly, your pillowcase weekly at least. Some people change their pillowcase every 3 days just because, you know, if you drool, the bacteria, all that stuff is not good for your skin. Something as simple as taking a call. The bacteria on your phone can cause acne around here. And I'll try to remember to put a chart that I had found on the internet that shows you if you get acne in certain spots, what part of your body it is or what could be causing it. Or I'll link something down below to educate you guys a little bit on it. Touch your skin, don't pop your skin, don't go to bed with makeup on. Like, all these were things that I was already doing. I was changing my sheets, I was washing my face, of course. I wasn't going to bed with makeup on. The touching, sometimes, like if it was there and it was really painful, I would try to squeeze and stuff, but that's what would cause the hyperpigmentation. But in my mind, I was like, pain or hyperpigmentation? Obviously, I'm going to go with the hyperpigmentation, which is the scarring that comes after, because it would be so painful sometimes. Medical procedures, which are more expensive and less likely for your insurance to cover, right? So your insurance can cover all these antibiotics, all this spironolactone, but a lot of the times they won't cover your microdermabrasion treatments, which you could do in a spa or you can do at like a dermatologist medical clinic kind of thing, which would basically take a machine and it would be rubbed on your skin and it would like cause your skin, similar to Retin A and vitamin A, it would just take off the first layer of your skin, which would cause the next layer to come up. And there's a bunch of machines out there that you can use. This is the PMD Pro, which it has a little head, I'm not sure if you could see it, that is interchangeable and can be used, right? You can take it off, you can put it back on, and this has the consistency of sandpaper. So you would turn it on and then slowly you would go over your skin in sections to cause your skin to rapidly take off the dead cells and have clear, brighter skin at the bottom. So people get those treatments done all the time. You don't have to go to a dermatologist, but again, your insurance is probably not going to cover it. What else? Chemical peels. So chemical peels, this does the same thing but more intense than microdermabrasion as it goes down and touches different layers of your skin. And this does the same thing. I've done chemical peels on myself. Don't try that at home. And had great reactions from it. That reminds me, should probably do one soon. Just, you know, to add some glow. Chemical peels are really good, but I would recommend getting them done first at a professional, by a professional, because you don't want to burn your skin, which would cause damage, which would cause scarring, which would make your skin worse in the end, right? You need to know the sensitivity of your skin. And I've never had really sensitive skin besides the acne. Like, I can put bleach on my skin. Don't do that. I was being dramatic. You could put anything on your skin, and I can put anything on my skin and nothing would really happen to it. So medical procedures are typically used to remove the top layer of the skin that contains acne, dirt, oil, or polluted skin, which I said basically, right? So let's get into a supplement called Alani Nu, and I will put a picture of it. And this supplement is a 5-star signature substance. Balance is strategically designed to support hormonal balance, weight management, complexion, and fertility. Enjoy restorative sleep, improve energy levels, and more. That all sounds great, right? As someone who was struggling with hormonal imbalance, especially after I took my IUD out, my skin went crazy. So it was bad with the IUD and it was bad without it. This was a supplement that was introduced to me by a family member who was using it and was raving about it. So what did I do? I started using it. And the packaging, I believe, would say a ridiculous amount, like 8 pills per day. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to take 2. Just to see how my body reacted. And let's just say, if I could sue that company, I would. Because my skin has never looked worse. And like with a lot of oral things, your skin will purge, which a purge is you'll start to get all these acne, like all this acne, all these pimples from places that you're like, whoa. And it's basically your body detoxing or releasing all that gunk in your skin. And that's exactly what my skin did, to the point where I continued the Alani Nu, hoping that it would get better, and it was only getting worse. And they said after your first or second week, you should see improvements, or after your first bottle. I was not doing a second bottle of that. After that, I was like, I've had enough. At that time, I was 27, 26, and I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to test things. And I love skincare. I love oils. I love cleansers. I love everything skincare. Just as much as I like makeup, right? But at that point, and I'll insert a picture of what my skin looked like after trying the Alani Nu. And I want to be very clear. My skin goes through periods, it always has, where it will look great and then it will break out crazy, and then it'll look great and it'll break out crazy. And I've never been someone who eats a lot of dairy, maybe cheese, so it wasn't what I was eating as opposed to my hormones or just acne skin, or maybe in my gut there was some sort of imbalance. I also know that Alani Nu and supplements like that usually work for people with less severe acne, and I had moderate to, I shouldn't say severe, I would say moderate, right? Because I had periods that it would be fair or medium. And then I've seen people with severe acne, you know, where like everything is covered and it's painful to look at them. It's painful because, and by painful to look at them, not that I cringe looking at them, but because I know what it feels like. So I know, and maybe I'll put a picture here of what other people's acne in terms of severity. As someone who struggled with acne, acne really, really, really affects your self-esteem to the point you don't want to leave your house. And there's been times I haven't gone out because my skin was so bad. And that causes anxiety, and that causes depression, and all of those things which I'm already predisposed to, right? So that's what got me to the place where I said I've had enough. So I went to a dermatologist about a year ago. She's amazing, Dr. Tilling from Brown University here in Rhode Island. And I went to her and I said, I'm not doing antibiotics. I've done them all. What are we going to do? That's when she put me on spironolactone, which was the medicine that was helping the inflammation. And it was every day. I was on it for like 3 or 4 months. I'm not going to say I didn't notice any differences, but it wasn't what I wanted. at that point I had it. I'm like, I'm 29. I've spent all of my, well, at the time I wasn't 29. I spent all of my 20s struggling with acne, and I want to have flawless skin. Let's do something intense. So she put me on spironolactone for 3 months, and I went in month after month because I was seeing her monthly, and I was like, sis, she's white, but I was like, it's not working. That's when I had discovered Accutane. At that point, I had already been watching YouTube videos, surprise, surprise, and was hearing about Accutane. I had gone to my dermatologist and said, Dr. Chiling, I heard about Accutane. Can we try it? And she looked at me, looked at the resident in the room, and was like, I think you'd be a perfect candidate for Accutane. And I said, okay, so what needs to happen? And she said, a lot needs to happen before you even get it. So the whole Accutane treatment process was 5 to 6 months, but before even getting there, it was 3 months. And then after, it's a very long process, and I want to actually do another video on Accutane and what worked for me during the treatment, but that's a whole separate video. So the big answer to how I cleared my acne was Accutane. What is Accutane? Accutane, or isotretinoin, is a retinoid used for the treatment of severe acne. And I had shown you guys tretinoin. So tretinoin is a topical version of it, and Accutane is a oral. So I was taking pills. So she told me that I would be on a 5 to 6 month regimen. And Accutane is a medication that most insurances, I shouldn't say this because I'm not sure, but my insurance covered it. And in order to get my insurance to cover it, I had to go through a portal every month and say that if I was sexually active, I was using condoms and birth control, which I was prescribed birth control pills and was taking. And the doctor had to go in and answer the exact same questions the way I was answering them. And it's like this whole company called iPledge, where I have a login, I type in, and they ask me like 10 to 12 questions before even allowing me to take the medication. And the reason they do that is because Accutane is very dangerous if you get pregnant. So every month I would go in and they would ask me, what form of contraception are you using? And I would have to put the same ones, and the doctor would have to put the same one. And then they'd say, if you run out of condoms, what are you supposed to do? And then the questions would be like, keep having sex, or not have sex, discontinue having sex. And the reason is that this medication can be extremely harmful to a fetus. And if I were to get pregnant, I would have to discontinue it all, the whole treatment, and possibly have an abortion because of the way that Retin-A affects my body, right? So initially, my doctor started me on 20 milligrams, and was it 20? I don't remember. For some reason, I feel like I was on 40 initially. The 40's on this side. And if you look closely, you see that's a pregnant woman, and it basically says, no to pregnancy. Like, don't get pregnant. That's the big thing with this. And even if you open the package, the pills are in here, but they still say, like, no to pregnancy. And they're extremely hard to get out of the package. Like, really hard. And it has the important information, like, it's very important to read and understand and do the iPledge information. And if you're currently taking a specific medication, then you can't take this. Again, this is why you have to go to a dermatologist to do this treatment. It's extremely, like, nitpicky. On top of that, the iPledge, I had to get blood work done and pregnancy test, I think twice a month in the beginning. and then once a month, and then every other month, just to say that I wasn't pregnant, just to say that certain blood levels weren't abnormal. And I remember the doctor telling me specifically, avoid chips, avoid like French fries, avoid stuff like that, fatty foods, because your body's not going to be able to process it the way it was prior to being on Accutane. Okay, so my dosage, and this is probably wrong, and if my doctor ever sees this, she's going to be like, Sahony, that's not how we did it. But I started at 20 to see how my body reacted and to see if anything happened. And then she raised me to 40 every 2 days. But based on my weight and height, my dosage was 60 milligrams. So after a while, what I was doing was I was putting them in one of these, labeling them 20, and then putting them in here because they were so difficult to take out. I used to cut myself all the time trying to take them out. So this is one of the pills that I was taking. Why do I have extra? Because in the beginning, my dosage was 20 milligrams, and my doctor had given me more because she knew that towards the end I would need them. And then the pharmacy 1 month didn't have them, and I wasn't able to get them. So I have extra, essentially. Can I give them away? No. Will I give them away? No. So then after the 40 milligrams, she moves me up to 60. So 40 plus 20, 60. It's the same medication. It's just different packages and probably a different company. But it's the same thing. Very difficult to open. Don't get pregnant, right? So there's a flap, and then there's an extremely difficult foil. And, oh, here it is. Here's the image of what could happen to a fetus if I were to get pregnant. And it says severe internal defects, lowering of the IQ, heart and gland and nervous system defects, absent ears, wide set eyes, depressed bridge of the nose, enlarged head and chin. It's extremely important that you follow those rules because you don't want to hurt a fetus. And if you're planning on getting pregnant, Accutane might not be for you. So, I know I'm going to do another video letting you know exactly what happened to me during Accutane and how I felt it went. But I did want to just let you know that that is how I cleared my acne. Accutane. Stay tuned for part 2 of the video.